Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. I am Speedy4, and welcome back to another episode of ModTro64, the show where I basically pick a game and talk about it. Now, before I begin today's episode, let me just say that, wow! 1,000 subscribers. I can't believe I actually managed to get here. I mean, who would have thought that a video of me updating the channel would have gotten my 986 subs to 1,000 subs? And let me just say, I want to thank you all for subscribing to the channel, and I hope you have a fun time being here. Now, let's talk about DropMix. Again. Now, for those who don't know, or haven't seen episode 1 of ModTro64, which I recommend watching if you want to know more, but for those with a limited amount of time, here's a brief summary. DropMix was a board/card/app/rhythm game that was developed by Harmonix and published by Hasbro on September 20th, 2017. The game was all about using special NFC cards which contained different parts of songs from popular and classic artists like Panic at the Disco, Gloria Gaynor, TLC, Skrillex, Maroon 5, and all of Europe. The cool thing about this game was that it had preset booster packs that actually incentivizes you into collecting them all, which I did, and there are no random elements whatsoever. If you buy 2 of the same discovery pack or playlist pack, you'll get the same cards. But why do you want duplicates? Well, besides having an extra card just in case any of them stop working, but also for competitive reasons. Yeah, I said competitive. Despite the fact this game was made mostly for parties in mind, DropMix actually has a competitive scene. And back when this game was all over the place, Harmonix actually held a tournament, and it was wild to watch because it felt like you were watching a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel while at a music festival. It's that intense.
It's time to duel!
But you're probably asking, why am I talking about DropMix again? Well, it's because before I did that video of me updating the channel, one idea I had was to make a top 10 list revolving around DropMix. And that is what this video is. But I'm going to be doing something I don't think any DropMixer has done. A top 10 of DropMix playlists. Yes, the playlist packs. The whole reason for playing DropMix is going to be a top 10. So not only am I going to be picking 10 of my favorite plays from seasons 1 and 2, or 2.5 in this case. I'm not bitter. I'm also not going to say, it's this playlist because it's got this song in it. While the music is a big part of it, I'm also going to be going into their strengths, weaknesses, what playlists pair well with another, and their effects cards. However, let's lay down some ground rules first. Number 1. If a playlist doesn't show up, that doesn't mean I don't like it or hate it. I didn't say this was a top 10 best playlist, now did I? Number 2. These are my opinions, not yours, but I respect you for watching this video anyway. Number 3. I'm not going to talk about Baffler or promo playlists because 1. Baffler isn't complete. It's missing cards 9, 15, 18, and 19. Because those playlists never came out, and it makes me sad. Number 2, Promo only has 4 cards, and they're all wilds. And 3, Baffler is all level 3 cards, and it has no effects cards. However, I can talk about the individual cards if I find useful strategies for them. I'm not just talking about the playlists themselves. So, with that out of the way, let's begin! Top 10 DropMix playlists.
Number 10.
Before I talk about number 10, let's get one thing cleared up about Seasons 1 and 2. Season 1 mostly focused on genres, with some light or minimal theming. And Season 2 was all about its themes. And number 10 is Energy, a playlist from Season 2 that focused on high-energy tracks and made you groove. Now, the Season 2 playlists are very quirky. They not only added new content to the game, but also introduced some unique effects cards. but Energy has the most friendly effects cards I've ever seen. Warm-Up, which lets you and your opponent draw 2 cards into your hand, like Well-Mannered Gentleman, and Cooldown, which gives you a point. 1 point. And considering you get a point each time you place a card on the board, this is just 1 extra point. These effects cards are the equivalent of holding the door open for someone and getting $1 for your efforts. Oh. Now, I know I said that I'd show what playlist would pair well with another, but really, any of the playlists would pair well with Energy. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Energy is a bad playlist. In fact, Energy has some good song choices. Scream and Shout, Unbelievable, Levels, and moves like Jagger is a wild card. And the Baffler card you get from Energy, Up All Night, is a groovy jungle drum card with some tuning fork sounds mixed in. It's just a very user-friendly playlist that's more focused on the mix sounding good than actually being competitive. Overall, Energy is a really fun playlist that is more focused on funky beats and is pretty much a good playlist to mix with. But our next playlist actually offers some strategy, and it's from Season 1.
Number 9.
At number 9, we're actually going to be talking about one of the starting playlists. Yeah, the playlist you get when you first buy the DropMix board. Sweets, Highness, the Blade, and Controller. However, despite these being beginner playlists, they do what they're made to do. Get you into the game and teach you how the game works with mixing music and how certain effects cards work. But what playlist am I going to pick? Well, at number 9, it's gonna be Controller. I mean, besides the obvious reason being that its wild card is Bangarang by Skrillex. Out of the original 4 playlists, Controller has the best effects cards out of the starting playlists. Assert Order gives you 2 points if you have a green base card on the board. And Embrace Chaos will take away 2 points from the opponent's score.
Perfectly balanced, this whole thing should be.
And then when you take into consideration that wild cards can count as any color on the board they're placed on, that gives you an opportunity to place any kind of you can. And lowering your opponent's point total is a key strategy, because whoever gets 21 points in Clash is the winner. And finding ways to mess with your opponent's point total is important. Say they're about to win and they need to place 1 card and they get that 21st point. Well, place Embrace Chaos on the board and then they went from 20 points to 18 points, and then follow that up with an equalizer spin and they lose even more points, giving you a chance to turn the tables around in your favor. Plus, if you pair this up with Highness, which has the effects card Flame Out, which will give you a point for every blue card on the board, and you can theoretically have 3 blue cards on the board. Now, I'm not the best at math, but even I know that 3 blue points and 2 points for a base equals 5 points. And it gets even better for if you have a wild card in the blue-green slot on the board, because that means you can get 3 points out of a wild card. Plus, it's got some good choices of electronic music. Skrillex, as mentioned before, but also LMFAO, Chainsmokers, Jason Derulo, Afrojack, and Duck Sauce! So yeah, Controller is a good playlist to start off with, and Highness is a good partner deck. But we're just getting started on this trip down DropMix lane.
Number 8.
Next up on the list is Puff, an odd electronic mix that has Young MC's Bust a Move as a wild card.
I don't know.
Puff is part of the Discovery playlists, which cost $5 and were made up of other playlists. And you had to buy all of the sets to complete the playlists. There were 4 sets, and when combined, you had the 8 playlists: Dapper, Seer, Puff, Hightower, Fever, Breaker, Socket, and Moonlight. But one thing you'll find is that the Discovery playlists loosely fit their genres and are more of a hodgepodge of different songs, but their effects cards really point to them working together. The reason I picked Puff is because it is the most unique sounding. I mean, it has an in-game song, which is one of my favorites, and it holds 3 of the 4 parts. The only part it's missing is the drums, and that's in controller. But its effects cards are also cool sounding. Eclipser basically forces your opponent to remove their yellow lead card from the board. And Pulsar gives you 2 points for each sampler card on the board. This is incredibly useful when you realize there's a total of 17 sampler cards, and Bust-A-Move has a sampler in it. And if you use extra cards like these 3 Bafflers or this other wild card of Benny Benassi's Satisfaction, you can stack on the points. But the best playlist to pair up with Puff is Breaker, cause it has the effects card Guardian Spirit, which allows you to place an extra sampler card on the board. And when paired with Puff and some of the Baffler samplers, you got a good competitive duo. Also, Breaker's Wild is Jungle Boogie. Just feel like pointing that out.
Number 7.
Oh, hey, look at this. I was just talking about Benny Benassi a second ago. Yes, we got another electronic playlist on the list, and it's oddly enough the final playlist in Season 2. Also, this is the last time I talk about an electronic playlist, I swear. But this playlist is very unique. It's got equal parts bumpin' beats and chill atmosphere. But while its effects cards don't look as impressive, they're actually well thought out. Pattern Alpha gives you 2 points for every key card you have on the board. It's basically a better version of Breaker's effects card, Pack Mentality, which only gives you 1 point. However, its companion effects card, Formation Delta, forces your opponent to remove their red and green cards. Now, this is important because this utilizes a mechanic in DropMix called color bonuses, where during Clash, if there's a color missing from the mix, the icon will flash that color. And if you place a card there of the corresponding color, you'll not only get a point for placing the card, but you'll also get an extra point for placing that needed color. And making color bonuses is important for point gainage. But be careful, because Formation Delta also forces you to remove those colors as well. So to mitigate the damage, it's best used when you need to place a lower level card onto the board, and there is no space on the board whatsoever. This is a card meant for strategy, and really forces you to pay attention, cause you could inadvertently put yourself in a tight bind, and could cost you the game. This is why Pattern Alpha exists, to help you gain the points you may lose by incorrectly using Formation Delta.
All respect and fear the doom.
Also, what would pair well with Faye? Well, I'd say Instinct, because it has the effects card In the Air, which will give you 2 points for blue-green pair. And oh, would you look at that? Both wild cards can count as both, and Phase has 2 songs that have their blue and green cards, and Instinct has 1 pair of blue-green cards, giving you plenty of opportunities to really gain some serious pointage. So Instinct is a good playlist to pair with Phase. Also, Instinct has baby metal, so that's a win in my book.
Number 6.
Next up is Mirrors, a hip-hop themed playlist with some slight R&B elements. But it's definitely one of the smoothest playlists in DropMix. You originally had to buy Mirrors as well as Derby, Ouroboros, and Astro from the official Hasbro site for DropMix, but now you can get them on Amazon. And out of the four of them, Mirrors is the coolest, especially when you got Genuine's Pony as a wild card, along with Salt and Peppa, Outkast, Sean Paul, and A Tribe Called Quest. The effects cards here are Lay It Down, which allows you to place a red melody card. I'll explain why that's important in a moment. And then we have Busted Up, which gives you 2 points for a pair of cards with drum and vocals. And oh, would you look at that? Pony has the requirements Busted Up needs. It's almost as if this card was made for Pony. Well, if you pair up Mirrors with City, which its wild card is Fade Away by Logic, and you got yourself an easy 4 points, if you can easily pull it off. But that is where Lay It Down comes into play. See, in a normal game of Clash, you and your opponent get 2 turns each, but playing certain effects cards will give you an extra turn, giving you a chance to actually play this strategy of placing Pony down 1 turn in the blue-green slot, and then on the same or next turn, play Lay It Down and then Fade Away in the red-blue slot, and then place Busted Up and get 7 points from that. Mirrors may not get a lot of attention, but this is one mirror worth looking at. Funny.
Number 5.
Mirrors might have been fun to look at, but this playlist is the bomb. Okay, terrible joke aside, although you could say I blew it.
No! Stop it!
Sorry, ma'am. But in all seriousness, Bomb is a cool playlist. In fact, it's so cool that a mix I made from this playlist is my intro for ModTro64. It is also from Season 1, and was part of the exclusive playlist, meaning you had to go to a specific store and either buy it online or in person. Bomb was an exclusive playlist for Toys R Us, and it's a good thing I got it back then, cause... Oh, wait. They're slowly making a comeback? Neat. However, in terms of competition, how well does it fare in Clash? Well, here we have another case of effects cards being made specifically for a playlist they're a part of. Because despite Bomb being another hip-hop playlist, this one has more strings than usual, especially with this in-game song, Theme from Broken Protocol, which I'm sure is just original and made solely for DropMix, although I could be wrong and it's from a Harmonix game that I have never heard of, but either way, it's pretty epic sounding. But it's this song where our effects cards come into play. Third Wave allows you to place an extra strings card, and First Chair gives you 2 points for every strings card on the board. And if you manage to have both strings from Broken Protocol or using Bomb's Baffler card, Cello Suite number 1 in G major. Yes, have you plebeians heard the good news? Johann is Bach! And the best playlist to pair it with is actually on this list. So you'll be seeing it later, but keep these effects cards in mind when you see the playlist I picked for Bomb. You'll know why.
4.
Next on the list is another Season 2 playlist, but this one is unique in the fact that all of the artists in the playlist are female. Woo! Girls rule! And the playlist is also going for a nature aesthetic, which is reflected in its art. My favorite is the Kaiser cards, but the effects cards are unique as well. Well, at least one of them is. Sweet Relief forces your opponent to remove their key cards. And Bitter Medicine will give you a whopping 3 points for a yellow-green pair. Now, this is unique in the fact that Sweet Relief, while it isn't focused on wild cards, however, it does seem to be good at combating them. Yes, there are solo key cards, but when you take into consideration that wild cards can count as any color, and when you realize there are 21 wild cards that incorporate keys into their songs, you can see how this was made to combat various wild cards, not just the solo keys of red, yellow, and green. But then when you take a look at Bitter Medicine and see that it rewards players for having the yellow and green cards of the same song on the board. And oh, would you look at that? This playlist has the vocals and bass of Lady Gaga's Ayo. And there are about 13 playlists that have one pair of yellow-green cards, and 6 playlists that have 2 pairs of yellow-green cards that can also fulfill the requirements of Bitter Medicine. But one playlist I think works really well with Flora is Fever, a strange playlist that has a light, and I mean very light, Latin theme. The only thing in this playlist that gives it a pass that it has one actual Latin artist and 2 in-game songs that sound Latin. Ricky Martin's La Mordidita and Francesco Sonara's You Didn't But You Had To, which both have their yellow and green cards in this playlist, and Fever's effects cards, Racing Through, which allows you to place an extra yellow card, and Soaring Above, which gives you 2 points for a yellow card. So, having Fever and Flora together could net you an easy 5 points, and when you take color bonuses into account, and that's potentially 7 points. That's really good. Also, I just want to point out the fact that the song Una Noche Más, which is done by the in-game group La Guarda Naranja, which literally means the War Orange. And it's an actual reference to the War of Oranges, which happened in 1801, and that is an actual thing being referenced in a card/board/app/rhythm game, and I am just baffled. Oh, by the way, speaking of being baffled, Flora's Baffler card is the piano from Vanessa Carlton's 1,000 Miles, and that's just perfect for the memer in me. So, to put it simply, Flora has a unique sound and good competitive potential in its effects cards, and pairing it with Fever, you got yourself a competitive duo of girl power, y ritmos picantes.
Number 3.
At number 3, we got Socket, a rock playlist that has a slight grunge aesthetic, but it's got some really good cards. Fall Out Boy's Centuries, Franz Ferdinand's Take Me Out, Imagine Dragons' Radioactive, Panic at the Disco's Emperor's New Clothes, and Vampire Weekend's A-Punk is a wild card. Along with some original songs that really tie the whole thing together. But one of its effects cards is incredibly useful. Wilden is an effects card that forces you and your opponent to remove all colored cards on the board, leaving only it and any other effects cards on the board. And Stylin allows you to place an extra keys card down. Now, Stylin's whole strategy is to make use of the color bonuses that Wilden created, But there's a playlist on this list that really utilizes Wildin's unique effects, and nope, I am not talking about Bomb. Though it would make a neat pair, but Socket's partner is located at number 1, but we need to get to number 2, which is where Bomb's partner is located. But for such a powerful card, why isn't this number 1? Well, for one thing, it's mainly because Wildin is a level 1 card, and is really hard to pull off unless you manage to remove one of your opponent's cards with the Equalizer. But even with the color bonuses, you're not looking at a lot of point gainage. Like I said, one playlist really benefits from Wildin's antics.
Number 2.
At number 2, we have what I consider to be Bomb 2.0, and that is this Season 2 playlist called Rhymer, which focused on lyrical rhyming, with stuff like 679 by Fettiwap or Man of the Year by Schoolboy Q. But the best thing about this playlist is the fact that its backup card is Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. The fact that we get an 1845 poem in a music mixing game is cool in itself, but to actually mix it into music is something truly bizarre.
Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door.
But the thing that really brings this home are its effects cards that sound like something you'd roleplay as in a game of D&D. The Thaumaturge, which, when played on a green card, allows you to draw an extra card into your hand. And the Songstress, which will give you 3 points if there are strings, horns, and drums on the board at the same time. Now, before I explain my reasoning, you're probably asking, the heck is a thaumaturge? Well, it is someone who practices thaumaturgy, which is when you are capable of performing miracles. So this card literally means the miracle worker. And don't let anyone tell you you don't learn anything from this show. Now, if you look at Bomb, they got plenty of strings, and Rhymer's wild card has a horn in it. In fact, it's time for a brief episode of Speedy's Story Time. So, while I was going to my final year of my local community college, I made some friends who I still occasionally chat with on my phone. We'd play Smash in between breaks or just after classes were done. And I would show up on Fridays with my DropMix board and card carrying case. One friend I made who really got into DropMix was named Versace. I introduced her to DropMix and she loved it. Girl quickly got the hang of it and she was quite the challenge, and she would beat me at my own game with terrifyingly well thought out strategies. Okay, so imagine this. It's a heated battle of Clash. We're both at each other's throats. She's at 20 points and I'm at a measly 17. And she just needs one card to win the game. It's my turn, and I draw a card, and it was the strings for Schoolboy Q's Man of the Year. And I already had Dang by Mac Miller on the board in the red-blue slot. I look at my hand, and I see I have the Songstress. So, I place the strings and then I drop the Songstress into the yellow slot because it was a level 3 card, and I got not only 2 points for placing the 2 cards down, bringing my 17 up to 19, but since I fulfilled the requirements of the Songstress, it brought me up to 22 points, making me the winner of that round! It was a clutch play, and I felt really good turning that game around. So much so that I saved that mix to forever save my glorious win. Also, Royce, if you're actually watching this, hi! Getting back on track though, yeah, Bomb and Rhymer make a really good pair. In fact, there's another playlist that I think works even better with Rhymer, that being Dapper, because it's got more horns and one string card. But the reason I picked Bomb and Rhymer as a pair because these playlists are super special to me. Bomb because I bought it on my 27th birthday, and Rhymer because I want a legit challenging game of Clash with a smart strategy. But if Rhymer is at number 2, what playlist is at number 1 that pairs up with Socket and outclasses the songstress? Well, let's just say it's something you wouldn't expect. But before we go to number 1, some honorable mentions. Derby, because it's the first playlist I ever bought, and it has Rick James's Super Freak as a wild card, and its baffler is Beethoven's Symphony No. 5 in C minor. Love me some classical music. Ouroboros, because its wild card is Blink-182's All the Small Things, and it has the vocals for Emperor's New Clothes. Plus, the baffler for it is the vocals for Len's Steal My Sunshine, which is hilarious. Fantastic because it's got some unique effects cards, and its wild card is Hathaway's What is Love? Baby, don't hurt me no more. Baby, don't hurt me no more. Hightower because it's got the vocals and bass of Cake's Short Skirt Long Jacket, along with its wild card being Europe's The Final Countdown. Plus, it's fun to win a game of Clash with that being your final card. Sweet, because when you place it on the Clash board, it plays the ice cream jingle. It's adorable! Also, its wildcard is Bruno Mars' 24 Karat Magic, which, I admit, I had a little bit of fun mixing it with other things. And now, it's time for...
Number 1!
At number 1, we have a playlist from the Season 1, and it was an exclusive playlist you can only get from Hasbro, but now on Amazon. Lucky! A country playlist. Welcome to the South. No, I'm not joking. Despite the fact it's a country playlist, which isn't bad, mind you, but it has some good songs, a good beat, and it has Carrie Underwood's Blown Away as a wild card. But when mixed with Socket, you get something truly amazing, because Lucky has the best effects cards in the entire game. Ill Omen, which gives you an extra turn to spin
The Equalizer!
And the big daddy of them all, Quiet Wisdom, which will give you a point for every empty space on the board. Now you can see why I have Lucky paired up with Socket. With the power of Wilden and Quiet Wisdom, you can easily get 6 points in one turn. And if you manage to place a color in the same turn, that's an easy 8 points. Or if it's a wild card in one of the dual color slots, that's 9 points. And I don't know about you, but 9 points in a single turn sounds pretty good. Also, it's really interesting to mix country and rock. I mean, Abilene and Down has a really good drum beat, and mixing it with Scroobert's The Game Got You leaves for some rather peculiar beats. Lucky is a top-tier playlist, and if you're interested in competitive DropMix, then consider adding Lucky in your lineup. But one thing's for sure, luck is on your side. And that was the top 10 playlists in DropMix. And if this video has motivated you into getting into the competitive scene, or just to play DropMix in general, then consider picking it up. It's a fun experience for friends and family, and it's just a really cool experience that I think people should experience for themselves. But again, these are just my opinions. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Feel free to leave a comment down below and tell me your thoughts. Now, if you excuse me, I need to get to work on the 1,000 subscribers special. But before I go, do you want to help contribute to the show? Do you want to see these videos before they come out? Well, then you should consider joining my Patreon, where you can help support ModTro64 in a small way. We have the $1 tier, where you'll get your name appear at the end of the credits, and then we have the $3 tier, which you'll get a personal shout out from me, as well as getting a little icon representing you. And then we have the $5 tier, where you will get a custom wallpaper done by me personally of your OC, persona, fursona, or just your favorite character from a cartoon, movie, anime, or video game. So if you want to show your support, you should consider becoming a patron. I would really appreciate it. Just go to www.patreon.com/speedy4. Now then, I need to get to work on the script for Sonic 2006.
And until next time, you'll be seeing you puny worms in the next video.
Stay tuned, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, then give it a like. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new here. It'll let you see my newest videos when they come out. And when you want to know the exact moment they come out, then hit that notification bell. Now, I don't like pointing this out, but 69.9% of you guys that are watching these videos aren't subscribed to the channel. You clearly like watching these videos, so why not subscribe to the channel? It's free, and you get quality content. And if you want to up that quality, don't forget to check out my Patreon as well. And feel free to check out my TeePublic, Redbubble, and Displate stores to get something cool for yourself. Now, for the patrons. So, a special thank you to Lori, my only $3 patron. You got a cute fox icon. I mean, I know it's probably default, but it's a cute default. And a massive thank you to my $5 patron, Callus Valis, the champion of anime waifus and Smash. That axe looks pretty heavy. I'm surprised you could even lift it while having a Pichu on your shoulders. But once again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.